If you think our industry is toxic, wait until you hear what Gordon Burcham has to say about the martial arts industry. Make sure you listen to this episode because there is definitely a lot of crossover. And also, if you don't walk away feeling the happiest you ever have done, then there's something wrong with you. Hey, Gordon, how are you doing? I'm so excited to have you on our show today.
Well, absolutely phenomenal. I'm so impressed with the studio there. It looks amazing. I need me a studio like that. Yeah, it's great. How are you? How's things?
Yes, very well, very well. Next time you'll have to come in person and see our studio.
I would love it. I'd love to come down there. It's great. If I can get the time out, I will do. Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
It's great. Love it.
Well, I'm looking forward to this chat today because I saw you speak a few years ago and we're kind of in the same network of people. So we've kind of known each other through people over the years. But definitely for me, I remember seeing you speak at the Sales and Closing Super Conference the other year with Matt Elwell. And ever since then, I was like, oh my God, this guy is absolutely incredible. And I just love everything that you ever have to say. So what I would love for you to do, just to kind of set some context, I suppose, for everybody, is if you could do a little introduction as to who you are, what you do, because you've got quite a good hit list on your CV now, like author, public speaker. Is it martial arts world champion as well?
Yeah, appreciate. By the way, you're very kind. I really appreciate that. I've done a lot in my life. Made loads of mistakes. I had a few successes. I've been in martial arts now for 30 years this year, which is interesting. I've actually started martial arts when I was 16 years of age, which was an interesting time to start martial arts. I can go into the story in a bit because I think it might be relevant to some people, but done martial arts for 30 years and built. I've got my martial arts facility in Rugby. It's a 9,000 square foot facility where we help and inspire martial arts from the age of 4 years of age all the way up to, we've got a lady who's 75 years of age doing our ladies kickboxing. She is absolutely outstanding. No excuses for anybody. So I've done that. I love that. I love martial arts. Love what it's done for me. It changed my whole life, literally. It seems like a cliche, but it did. And then I run my businesses. I run a consultancy business. I've done for the last 9 years where I coach and mentor martial arts business owners across the globe. Written a couple of books. I've done a fair bit really in my time. Won a few world titles and stuff along the way, that type of thing. And I'm just on the adventure of life, right? Just having fun and living life happy. That's it. Yeah. So
I love it. I love it. And that's the name of your book, isn't it? That Live Life Happy.
Yeah. Live Life Happy was it's an important book to me. It was my second book I wrote. When my dad died. It was a really important book for me because I've been in personal development probably 15 plus 16 years now. And in 2019, I got a call from my mum, and I was in Devon, and I had a missed call in the morning. I got loads of missed calls in the morning. I phoned my mum back and she says, "You need to come back. Your dad's broke his neck." I was like, "Oh my God." So I drove back really fast from Devon all the way back to Rugby, about 3 hour drive in panic. Walks in, sees my dad on in the bed, and he gave me this really, really odd look. He was lying there, gave me this odd look. Anyway, I give him a kiss on the cheek and stuff. "How you doing, Pots?" And he was like, "Yeah, not too good." Anyway, spoke to the doctors and they were like, "He's going to be okay. We'll send him home tomorrow. He's cracked his neck and he'll send him home tomorrow." So to put it into context, my dad had myotonic dystrophy, which means it's a muscle wasting disease. So for like 3 years prior to that, I'd been eating for a peg in his stomach, and seeing my hero wasting away in like this, just shriveling up his throat and all that type. It's just horrible to see him wasting away. Anyway, I said to him, I said, "Look, I'm going to go home now." This was a few hours afterwards. "I'm going to go and watch Man United because that's his favourite team. Like, he loves Man United." And I said, "I'm going to go and watch Man United, and I'll see you in the morning, Pops." All right. So I goes home, watch the game, and then I get like loads of these phone calls. I picked up the phone, and it's my mum, and like absolutely beside herself. She says, "Your dad's died." I was like, "Oh my goodness." So driving from there, and it's only about probably 10, 15 minute drive. It took me about 40 minutes because I kept stopping. I was just in absolute despair. Gets to the hospital, was nearly crawling along to go and see my mom. And then see my dad in the bed. I'd just been there like a few hours before, like, and I goes in there and I see my dad just lying there. And as I'm there, you know, you give him a kiss and stuff. But I had this overwhelming sense of regret, like the most unbelievable sense of regret. And it was all on me. You know, I regretted all the time I hadn't seen him, all the things I hadn't done, all them things, as I'm sure most people do. And I was just in a real mess, like for days and days. Anyway, my mum said to me, they've got to do some stuff with him, and before we can do the funeral, it's going to be a few weeks. You're due to go to France. Your dad would want you to go to France. You must go to France tomorrow. I was like, no way. You've got to go to France. So anyway, I summoned up the courage to go to France. So I flew. So I went to France, and as I was on the plane, I made a decision in my mind, and that was, what can I make great out of this situation? Like, how can I put my dad in lights? Because he was my hero. My dad's like everyone liked my dad, but he was very flew under the radar. I was like, how can I put him in lights? I sat down, so I'm going to write a book. I'm going to write a book, and I'm going to use it as a cathartic healing. And I'm just going to pour out all my learning through personal development in this book. And it was, I knew that the book was going to be called Live Life Happy. Never thought of it before. It's going to be Live Life Happy. Like, how can you live life on purpose? How can you live life without regret? And it was like, okay. So I went, and for 3 weeks, I sat in this caravan in south of France writing this book. And it was an amazing healing experience. And when I was writing the book, and it was all about living each day as if it was your last and your first, live it on purpose, you know, let go to grow, all these wonderful things, create change in your life. And one of the things that I realized through writing the book was the regret was not me. It was my dad's gift to me, telling me, don't live life with regret. It was an amazing transformation and healing, where I realized my dad was giving me an energy. Son, don't leave this world with regret like I have. It's very powerful. And I finished off the book and stuff, and then I put it out to the world, and all I've done since 2019. You've seen me speak on stage, Joe, and I do this in every speak. I speak at dance conferences and businesses. It's all about, number one is I want my dad in lights, so my dad's always on the screen, and secondly, it's really important that I try and empower and inspire people to live life on purpose, live it with full happiness and love, remembering that each day is a gift, and remember, everyone's got challenges and problems in their lives, but if we can keep smiling through that and keep living life happy, we're going to have a phenomenal time. So that's what I'm all about. Yeah. So that's where I'm at right now. So that was where the book was created, really. Yeah.
Wow. What an amazing story. So your perspective on your dad dying is quite a unique one, because most people would spiral into just dark places. And for you to be able to sort of take that and make it into something amazing, do you thank your personal development journey for that then? Do you think you'd be able to have done that without going down that kind of route?
100%. Like with that, for me, I mean, I teach business owners, and it doesn't matter what I do in life, right? I absolutely have a massive belief. You don't need, for instance, in life, you don't need to know that, and business in particular, you don't need to know the latest strategy. You can learn it on Google for free. Like, you don't need to learn how to do a Facebook ad and how to do Google ads, and how to build sales and all this stuff that people all the time. I need to learn the strategy, which is what they want, what they need. They need to get themselves right. They need to get over their procrastinators, their fears, their anxieties, their uncertainty about themselves. They need to endow themselves with self-love and understanding of who they are, their uniqueness. And part of that is taking full responsibility. And so personal development, what it does, it empowers you to be you. Like, it empowers you to take full control of your life, to take full responsibility. And that's what it did for me, by the way, not for everybody. And I learned that over the years. Is like, every time I have a situation, how can I make this great? What can I do about this? It's the Tony Robbins thing. It's not what happens to you, it's what you do with what happens. That's more important than anything. And I think very often in this world, we live in a victim world. If you look on social media, you see people like it, and you can't blame them. Let's be honest. Victims get attention. End of story. And that's what happens. So that's why on social media, on Facebook, they're all like, oh yeah, they'll put things on there, I'm feeling shit, you know, here we go. And that in comes and they're not being helped because they're not taking responsibility. And it's like, we all have that. I do that. We all go into this victim mentality. We need a bit of love and we'll go into victim. And what I realized was over the years is, you know, it's not what happens to you, it's what you do with what happens that's more important. And, you know, I try and take that responsibility to the fullest where I can, always looking internal for the answer, realizing that if I'm looking externally, I lose all my power. You know, if I'm looking externally for someone to help me, I lose all my power, because the only person who can really help you is you. The only person who can really change is you. And I think we live in this world very often where it's very externally verified, external gratification, etc. Teenage suicide is the highest in history for one reason alone, because they are looking externally, looking at people out there that wish they were them. They look in the mirror and they don't like what they see. They don't love who they are. They're so focused externally that they don't realize their true power lies internally. They don't take very often full responsibility. They don't stand in a world of self-love. They're always criticizing themselves. And I think what that does is bring negativity themselves. And I think, you know, personal development massively helped me. And when my dad died, it's a huge, unbelievable experience for me. You know, my hero died, but he's still alive and he's still with me and he's still on the adventure in my world where I put him in life. It's like, okay, his passing was a blessing in many ways, because it led me to write and live life happy. It led me to learn more about myself. It empowered me to live less in regret and more in gratitude every single day, you know, no matter what happens. And it allows you to navigate the storms of life, the challenges, the winds, the rains, etc., that come to us all. And it's our ability in life to be able to deal with that and to do it in a way where you're living life happy. You're doing it in a way that you're not reactive, that you're in the right state to weather the storms. And I think, you know, personal development, for me, it's the number one. Like, I have people come to me, every business owner comes to me, they all want to learn the strategy on building their business. And every single bloody time I'm like, I delve into, they're the problem. They need to solve their shit, get rid of the shit from the past, all that type of stuff. So yeah, I love personal development. For me, it's where it's at. And the world needs change right now. The world is too externally verified, whatever you want to call it. They're looking over here. And very often when you look around the world, well, I truly believe people are dying because they're so external. Where if you look internally for the answers, you know, I always say that, you know, one of the biggest sayings I use, there's a book, a decent book that was written. It's called the Bible. I'm not religious at all, but I read it because it was a good book. And it says, search and you will find. And people saying that, and this is my belief, is that, you know, they'll say searching for God and all that type of thing. I think it's whatever you search for, you will find. So what are you searching for?
Very deep.
It is deep, and you know what? Weirdly, the first thing that came into my head when you said that, it's like the Bible is a book, and I was like, oh, it kind of is a book. So you just always hear it referred to it as like
the Bible, not a book.
Yeah, no, but very, very interesting indeed. What are your thoughts on them? Because actually, Vicky and I have this conversation a lot. In that, I've been in personal development world for, and we jokingly refer to it as, I think people think we're in a cult a lot of the time, because you're always surrounding yourself with people that are trying to push you to do better, and you're figuring this journey out. So I've been in this world for a lot longer, but you, Vic, have definitely said that it surprised you actually on how integral that personal journey has been for you, from being a lowly dog trainer and coming into this world.
Yeah, it's been so huge for me, because I never thought I needed personal development. Like, why would I need personal development? I've got my shit together for ish. But like that just, it's opened so many doors. Like, I've realised my faults. Like, I knew I had them anyway, but it just brings them to the surface, doesn't it? And you're like, you're the one stopping these things happening. You're the one that's limiting everything. And I did so much of that external validation. Like, I can't do that because other people don't do that. Or like, how can I do this if they're not doing it? And so when you get to that point where you realise that you can do anything you want, like you really can. And I think having signed up to a business mastermind, like, has totally transformed. yes, our business, but also the perspective around the business and my life as a whole, really. And I can't I mean, I say that and people will be like, yeah, but it's actually such like a huge transformation. And because you've seen it happen right in front of your eyes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think it is. I think when, people are disempowered in the world, and because they don't realize, they're not taught it in schools, right? So you're not taught that you need to look within. They don't teach you about personal development, personal growth. They teach you in a societal construct that you must be like this. You see, I'm autistic, right? So I didn't realize I was autistic until I was an adult. So when you're going through school, when I was massively bullied, like hugely bullied mentally and emotionally, like I used to ride home from school in absolute fear. Like I used to get literally kicked and stamped on at times, like really. And I was such a victim. I would ride home from school. I'd get home, throw the bike into the bushes, run into my home, and look for a video. There used to be videos, guys. I don't know if you know that, but there was a video, right? But and I'd always look for a video that was, the longest video. Didn't matter what the video was, but it's like, how long is the length of this video? Okay, put it in. And I'd sit there trembling, and I'd be waiting for it to go dark, because I would be praying it go dark before the film ended, because I didn't want my mom to come in and say, "Why are you not going outside, son?" Because my mom was a tough lady. God bless her. Like, she's a tough lady. So I used to get beat up, running, crying, and she'd hit me and say, "Get back outside, go." Every time you get knocked down, get up. That's how you win. I was like, I'm scared, like in absolute fear. And so I was in this this vortex of victim. I used to walk up the street, and I remember this one time, like, this is insane. This will show you the level of victim I lived in. It's like, I'd walk up the street, and this double-decker goes past, and there's this guy leaning out the window, like, they weren't leaning out, but leaning to the window, right? And he was going, "I'm going to fucking kill you," like this. And I'm like, what the hell? Like the fear, imagine the fear, when you have that fear come through your legs, the trembling. And that's how I lived my life. And I realized over the years, one of the things, I was always quirky and I was always a bit different, a bit, I even had the big earring, and I thought it was cool, and they all took the piss out of me. And I always felt an outcast. I always felt different. I was always on the peripherals. And I didn't like who I was. I didn't love myself, hated my name, hated how I sounded, all them type of things, had no self-love at all. And when I started martial arts, I hated it. Like, starting martial arts when you were absolutely bullied, like the fear and dread was horrible. I used to drive to the dojo, right? That was about, so I was 16, I started, 17, I passed my test very, very quickly. I remember, like, it was a 5-minute drive from my house to what was a school hall, right? And it used to take me 45 minutes to get there, because it's a drive there and drive back. Yes, you can. No, you can't. Yes, you can. No, you can. Yes, you can. No, you can't. And every time I'd end up back at the dojo, tears in my eyes, wipe it out and walk through the dojo, get beat up, come back out again. And that was the thing I just never believed. And then I started to win a few titles, like not titles, just tournaments. And here's the thing I want to share with you, which is really important. Like, the lack of belief was so extreme that even when I won, there was a reason that I won, was because the person had a bad day, because they ate something funny. I had an easy draw. That it was I must have slept just about right. It was never because I was good enough. That went on for about 10 years of fighting. Like, I had absolutely low self-belief, but I kept on going back. And I kept on going into the dojo all the time, not believing a thing, even when I was winning. And that was how extreme it was. And it wasn't until I got selected for the England in 2012. I fought in the British Championships in Manchester, and I won my sections, and I beat a load of fighters. And I was like, God, you must have a good day then. They were shit today. All this stuff, right? I got selected to fight for England, to go and fight in Canada. And I remember standing in the tunnel. I'd done all this preparation, standing in the tunnel to go onto the plane with the England team there. And this is an amateur England team, by the way. It's not, there never is professional martial arts, right? So I'm reading the paper. We've all got our England tracksuits. So I remember looking up, seeing the sea of England fighters, and I pissed myself laughing. I just found it really funny. I was like, what the fuck are you doing here? How did you get like you don't deserve to be here? You just had a look. I was like, all this. So anyway, I goes onto the plane, gets over there, and the way it works is it goes into prelims. Yeah, so I gets into the event a couple of days later, and I fights an Irish guy. I beat him, German guy, Canadian guy, and big American guy, etc., etc. Anyway, I made it through to the final, which was 2 days later. So, oh my goodness, I've won a silver medal. You've had another decent day. They must have been shit, right? So anyway, so I goes into. I remember the night before. I'm in the foyer of this hotel with the England team, and I'm stretching out. Now, the reason I'm stretching out is because no one really knew, but I had an 85-year-old hip. I'd worn my hip down that much that every night I'd wake up in extreme pain, like someone had a macheting my hip. The pain was unbelievable. So my hip was disintegrated, and I was trying to fight with this hip like this, and I was stretching it out. So I had to stretch it out. So anyway, I goes from like to go up to the stairs into bed, and I had a massive change. This was a pivotal change in my life. And I said to myself, if you keep like thinking negatively, you're going to get the same result. You've got the final tomorrow. How about you start visualizing how you want it to be? And I get into this lift and the door shuts, and I start to visualize how the fight's going to go. I visualize how I'm striking, the points I'm scoring, all that, how it would be, how it would feel, how I'd feel calm and in control, and all these things that I never had. I went to bed with this visualization, and I woke up in the morning with a sense of calm. I woke up in absolute certainty and calm. Everything I did, how I showered, how I got ready. I mean, I would have ironed my socks if I had some like an iron in there. Like literally everything perfect. I went down for something to eat. I stretched down on the mats, and I got onto the mats. And as I'm on the mats, this sort of uncertainty coming up, and then I had some clarity, and I get on. There's 2 rounds in the final, right? So it goes through the first round. And I looks, and my coach looks, he goes, look, you're winning. I was like, wow, at least I won that. And I was like, no. And then my body took over. And I had this out of body experience where I could, as I'm fighting, I'm hitting from, so I can see myself from here inwards. And it was like everything was slow motion. It was like hitting and striking. And the fight was like my visualization. I remember sort of opening my eyes and having my arm raised and said, Gordon Burcham, world champion. And I'm looking at the crowd, and I absolutely cry my eyes out. I'm screaming, this massive crowd in front of me. I jumped on my instructor, and I was in absolute elation, like the greatest feeling I've ever felt in my life, and still today. And I'm absolutely in bits and just so happy and so relieved. And it's all this emotion came out. And it wasn't because I'd won this world title that I dreamed about. It wasn't that I'd beaten this 18-year-old and I'm 35 years of age. It wasn't that I'd beat everyone there, etc. It's just that I beat the person that I've been battling for years, which was myself. I could finally love and respect myself. And from that day on, when I went on the podium, when I'd done that, it was the day that turned my life around. I started to love myself and respect myself, love how I sounded, loved my quirkiness, loved that I'd lose my keys every fucking day, loved that it's like Hansel and Gretel, right? I loved that. I loved me for who I was, and went on to win 3 consecutive world titles, build businesses, books, stages, all that type of stuff on that one. And it all stems down to one thing: self-love. Loving myself unconditionally, like you would a child. And I think that was the pivotal moment that changed everything. And that's what I go around teaching people now. Is very often most people don't love themselves unconditionally. They put conditions on them. They look in the mirror, they go, I love this bit, but not that bit. I like this bit about myself, I don't like that. I fucking love it that I'm fucking loud, brash, I swear. I don't give a fuck. I spent that many years trying to be someone that I'm not, trying so hard to fit in when I was born to stand out, all them things. It's like, and as soon as you love yourself for who you are, now you can go forwards and be who you are. You can live in freedom and love and energy and passion. So yeah, that's a little bit of the story, by the way.
I love it though. Like, it gives you such a good perspective though, doesn't it? And I can see it through so many lenses. And I'm mindful actually of what our audience are probably thinking as they're listening to this. So I imagine they're actually similar to yours in that they're business owners in their own little niche, in their own little world, and their whole world is purely the industry world that they're sat in. And all of this self-doubt comes in, that imposter syndrome badge gets thrown around everywhere. Like, even though you do all the right things, you go on all the courses, you do all the studying, you are like the best expert there ever is, but it's still not good enough to be able to go out and deliver that awesomeness that you have inside you. And then also tapping that into, I suppose there is an element of those business skills that are needed and that are lacking, but you're right, they are not the things that are going to fix your business. And this is what we say all the time. It's like, we can give you those tools, we can give you those skills, we can help you with that strategy. That's exactly what we're fucking awesome at. But you've got to make sure that you're doing this work on yourself alongside it, because it doesn't matter how amazing this skill set is we can give you. If you're not ready to receive it, then it's not going to make a difference anyway. And I think this is where I see it in the world. I don't even see it in industry specifics, but this is where people are always chasing the same thing time and time and time again. And it doesn't matter how many courses you do, you're never going to overcome these imposter syndrome badges and these burnout badges and everything else that we keep almost striving to achieve, all of this negativity. It's like, oh yeah, look, I did that. That happened to me.
If you don't believe, how can you achieve? If you don't believe, how can you achieve? It's impossible. And I think this is the problem in the world. I'm convinced of it. We look at, the gurus and I used to have imposter syndrome. I used to, my knees used to chud and I realized actually, they go to the toilet like I go to the toilet. It's the truth. They breathe the same air. Like, they are a human being. They have the same challenges, just in a different way. And that's it. They're challenged with life, etc. So it's not they're any better. They're just on a different journey. And I think, if you're listening to this podcast right now, own your fucking greatness. Own your greatness, because no one is good at being you as you. That's it. There's no one like you. You are absolutely unique. And I think we live in a world where we're trying to copy, we're trying to mirror, we're trying to do all these things. But you weren't put on this earth to be like anybody else but you. So you might as well fucking look at yourself with absolute self-love, look in the mirror and go, what a fucking specimen that is. Like, what? And it is true though, isn't it? And every time I say that, everyone laughs, because it's like, hold on a minute. Because what they do, the most important story is the one you continue to tell yourself. The challenge in life is, most people's is a fucking horror story. Most people is not a love story. It's an absolute nightmare. It's a Freddy Krueger. It's an absolute nightmare. And I think this is where, because we're in judgment, and we're in judgment of others and of ourselves. Judgment is horrible. It's a virus. And it's like, when you're judging yourself, others, you're judging yourself. When you look in the mirror, I guarantee you, so it's always a negative judgment of self. And how about you change the narrative and the story? The real unconditional love of self. And I know this might, when you're listening to this, guys, you think, well, I run a dog business or whatever it is I do, right? It doesn't really matter what business it is, right? It doesn't matter what you do in life. This is where it's at. Because if you're happy with who you are, if you're in love with who you are, if you love yourself for who you are, imagine how powerful you are. Imagine how powerful you are. Instead of putting yourself down, looking at other people, you will feel free, absolute freedom, to be and express who you are. And it's an important journey that many people don't, they're not taught. And there's a reason for that. It's societal bullshit. Heather, don't get too big for your boots. Stay where you are. You stay down there. It's like you can't express yourself for who you are. And I think, so they look at external and they're looking for the answers from somebody else. And it's like, oh, that person is great. Really? Are they? They've got skeletons. There's things in their closet. There's stuff with every one of us. So, and I think this freedom of self is so important. And it's my mission in life to help people realize how fucking incredible they really are. That's what I want people to realize. It's important, right?
And I think that word freedom, and I can visualize it in myself almost, like that freedom it gives you. And that it's like a barrier that's just up and you don't even realize it's there. you live your life and you just have this small-minded view, or you only know what you know and you won't look outside of it. And there's this barrier in front of you. You don't know it's there. Once it's gone, you're like, my God, there's a whole other world here. Like, how did I not even know about any of this? Well, yeah, but the cult world, but way beyond that, like there's so many possibilities that I've probably passed by because I don't think I'm good enough to do it, or I don't think I can do it. And it's like, we can all do it. And so when we read some of the comments from people in our community, and when we work with people, sometimes we're like, if only you got that freedom. Like, our mission is to free you and to break that barrier down. But you can just tell by the way they talk, you can tell by the comments they write, and you're just like, you're stuck. You're stuck at the moment in your own little prison, and we need to help you break those walls down of that prison bit by bit. But like, if we said that, this is what we do, we help you break the walls down, people would be like, yeah, right, like, I don't need that. But like, slowly by the journey that they come on with us, like we do, hopefully we are breaking the walls down one by one.
Help them escape the matrix, right?
Yeah.
It's just the matrix. It's within a construct. And when personal development helps you fly here. So like, I do this with lots of people, like even my staff, I mentor some of my staff, and as they're the ones who want to learn, and everyone wants to do that, they're like, I don't need to grow. I'm perfect. Yeah. Cool. Okay. So the ones who want to grow and evolve, it's like bringing them out of the matrix into a new world. They're like, oh my God, I now can see I can do, be, and become anything. Of course you can. You've always had that power. You just didn't realize it. You know, very powerful stuff. Very, very powerful.
It is incredibly powerful. Something I want to ask you, actually, just because I'm curious more than anything. So when you are, and again, this applies to anyone. So when you are stuck in your own little bubble, in your own little industry, we all have these industry quirks, don't we? Where like you've got the toxic side of it, and then you've got like the nice side of it. In the martial arts world, what's toxic about it? Because I'm curious to see. I genuinely believe, and I could be wrong, but I genuinely believe every industry has got its own version of toxicity, because it's rife at the moment in our dog world. So it's got to be happening elsewhere as well. And I love that you're laughing at this.
It's cesspool. It's an absolute fucking cesspool. It's
not just
cesspool. You know what though, ladies, and you know, I love these conversations. They're great. You know, I was one of them at one point. I was stuck in it because you see, and I'll explain why in a minute, and it become more apparent. And when you can see it from a different viewpoint. But yeah, there's toxicity. It's unbelievable in the martial arts world. In fact, in the martial arts world, and I'm very controversial as a character, because I just say it as it is. That's it. Right? I just say it as it is, not fluff it up. You know, people say I shouldn't swear I'm a martial artist. Fuck off. Like, I'll do what I do. I'll be who I want. Do you see what I mean? You should be like, you should be in this construct. Hold on. You talk about freedom, integrity and stuff. I've got massive integrity. But just because I swear doesn't mean I'm not a decent person. You see, it's like a judgment. So in the martial arts world, like they're not, I'm not saying a generalization, but I'm being general. It's the sense of the majority of martial artists do not live through their values. They say, what's important in martial arts? Respect, integrity, honor. They don't live any of them. Like most of it, they're so bitching about that guy. He's got a martial arts school. He's shit. She's crap. He's oh my goodness, man. Why are they doing that arts shit? Mine's the best. Backstabbing, all this stuff goes on. And it used to really do my nutting. Like, it used to get really frustrated until I realized, I feel sorry for them. What they've realized is they lack abundance. They lack abundance in their life. They lack absolute abundance, because if you think about it, it's always them, as in they're worried about what they're not going to get, what they're going to lose. And that's what we find in our industry. The bit like this person's crap. It's about, because if they're full of abundance and full of love and full of confidence and full of vitality, you don't judge people. You don't put them down. You raise them up. And it's because they're not on their own personal journey. They're not living what they preach. And it's the same in, right, it's the same in how many personal, like, it does make me laugh in personal development. It's so funny because, like, yeah, I've read the book. I say, great, okay, yeah, you're not being the book. You read it, but you're not being the book. We're human beings, not human readers. You're not being the book. And you look at people that are like, yeah, I'm like, I've read the book. Yeah. Have you studied it? Are you becoming the book? Are you becoming the development? And the same in martial arts, they talk about it, but they're not being it. And it's very much because they're not grown personally. They're not in abundance of self and abundance of, for instance, like I'll mentor people who live locally with martial arts schools. Come on in. I've got someone coming into my elite mastermind whose martial arts school's down the road. I say, come on in, let's go. We got enough of us, let's go. It's in abundance. I used to be years and years ago in fear. Oh, if they do that, then I won't have this and that won't have that, and I'm better than this, all this type of stuff, right? And toxicity just comes from lack of confidence in self, lack of abundance, and lack of love. That's what I believe. I'm sure you'll see it many, many times in your business and other businesses. They're so fearful. And the scary thing is they don't even realize they're being like that. That's what's really, they're in unconscious incompetence, right? They just don't know. Fascinating, isn't it?
Oh, it's incredible. Do you know what? I'm going to take this a step further, because something you said there about how everybody, and again, I'm making massive assumption because it's been a long while since I entered a dojo. I was very young. But you touched on that people may teach in different ways. So I'm akinning it to dog trainers using different methods on how they teach. So the big argument that never feels like it ever fucking goes anywhere is, are you going to train with pain or positive in the dog world? So are we going to actually do something that causes harm to the dog, or are we going to go down the positive route? And I feel like there could be a bit of crossover, alignment, a kinship, whatever the word is here, with the martial arts, because ultimately you guys will be training people's children as well. So there's a few factors where I'm thinking, well, hold on, you've got to almost get the parents on board to get the kids in the first place. So likewise with us, we've got to get the owners in before we even get the dogs in. But then you've got these different methods as well. And if somebody doesn't agree on a professional colleague peer level that you're using the right method, then this is where all this toxicity comes in. And this is where we're actually destroying an industry from within by not being able to have conversations and do all of this. So I'm making massive assumptions, and I can tell by your face that I think I'm on the right lines, that there's some similarities here.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it comes down to judgment again. Everyone judges. The thing, here's what I realise in life, and I was taught this by my business coach. Number one is I always surround myself with loads of women, because they're the most powerful in my world. I've always had women who are coaches. Most of my team are women. Like I'm very blessed to have a lot of women, powerful women in my life. And my coach taught me this years ago. She had a profound effect on me. If you think about it from a judgmental point of view, what we're doing is we're judging to make ourselves feel better, right? That's what people do. Well, that is absolute crap, isn't it? We're judging. But actually, imagine this is the thing that I try and live by. Not mastered this, still working on it, by the way. Yeah. And stepping into people's model of the world and looking through their eyes. And that is how you move into empathy and understanding of people. You see, we are a complex people, and we're all trying to climb and feel good about ourselves, etc., and get verification. But actually what I realized is, imagine if everybody respected other people's model of the world. What a beautiful world it would be. Because we're in so much judgment. And so whatever industry you're in right now, remember, everyone is right. Every faith is right. Every human is right. Every business is right. It's right for them. And we must respect that. And I really believe that it starts with every one of us to remove that judgment, to step into their model of the world and realize everyone's doing the best they can with the resources that they have, with what they've learned, how they live their lives right now. And the world is toxic because of judgment, because of looking at them. And it's all because if they put them down, they can feel better. And that's why you've got to feel better about yourself in your business. Focus on what you're doing. Focus on your greatness. Isn't it interesting? If they focus there, why would they need to put down? Why would we ever need to put down when we're happy inside? And it always comes back to that. And, I think if you can step into people's model of the world, and, even people that challenge you, they're your gift. They are your gift. They allow you to think and ponder and take in. because we tend to react, don't we? Oh, not this. And I'll always say, isn't that interesting? That's really interesting. We don't have to agree with it, but it's interesting. It's an interesting point of view. It's a very different way of looking at it. But and the reason I can teach is because I used to be, I'm right, you're wrong. So like, that's what I used to be. And, you know, I haven't mastered this. I catch myself so many times a day going to judge. No, stop it. Stop it. Focus on what you're doing, who you are, what you're doing. They're doing the best they can. And it's an energy then that comes out and people can see. And you can live from your heart. You're going to live through love, yeah, from here. And loving other people, loving what they do and being interested in others and having empathy and understanding. It transpires. And what it does then, it transcends the world and we can live in a better humanity together, connected. In an industry, for instance, it's very small, isn't it? Martial arts or dog business, it doesn't matter. You're all on the same journey. And you, if everyone was right, what a shit world that would be. What I mean is, if you're all the fucking same, how boring would that be? Like, life is balance. And one of the things I love to teach is the simple philosophy of universal law of balance. You can't have good without hate. You can't have love without hate. You can't have sunshine without darkness. You have to have balance. You can't have good times without bad times. Everything's balanced. So you need that to create the equilibrium in life, the balance. How cool is that? And then when you can start to understand that, of course, you need debate and you need people who are different to you. That creates the balance in the world. And that even your heart goes up and down, right? Keeps you alive. It's up, it's down, it's up, it's down, it's up, it's down. You need the up, the down, etc. You need you don't want everyone to agree with you, which is what I wanted to, yeah? I'm like, isn't that interesting? And if we can learn that what makes the world beautiful is our diversity, is our differences, but I respect and love you for who you are, respect your values and faiths and all that. God, what a wonderful world we live in compared to the judgmental one we are in right now.
Yeah.
I feel really emotional off the back of that because it's something that is so close to our hearts, because everybody and like everyone who's listening, like, we know you are all doing the best you can do, whatever walk of life that is in, whatever methodology you are using in this dog world. Like, we are here for you because we know you're just doing the best that you can with what you've got. And it is different for everybody. Not everybody has access to the same type of learning that everybody else has. And going back to like the start of this episode where you're talking about childhood experiences and everything that kind of shapes who you are, that is going to have an impact on the style and methods and everything that you are going to go down. And yes, there's always an argument that you could be learning and doing more and being better, but how are you going to give anybody a chance if you're not opening those doors and willing to hear somebody out? Because the more you just shut people away, like, it's just not acceptable. Like, we need to embrace it. We need to get everybody and go, we're all here. We're all on this journey. Like, let's support one another. Let's stop tearing each other down and let's actually do what we're all set out to do and live in that purpose and follow those values and do something fucking incredible with this world, because we only get one.
Yeah. And actually, I think it's worth saying a couple of points on what you were saying about the judgment, because even, you know, you were saying about you judge people to make yourself feel better. It's true. But if you're a decent human being, it doesn't last very long, that good feeling. Like, the guilt comes in straight after. Like, I've done it before and I've said something and I'm like, oh my God, I feel really bad for saying that now. Like, it's literally a few seconds of, yeah, that feels good. Oh no, now it doesn't. So that's first thing, like, it doesn't last. And then secondly, like, if we don't necessarily agree with the person, which you are totally right, like, nobody should agree on everything anyway. But if we can just start changing the language around it, maybe just going like, that's an interesting point of view. Like, where does the thought process come from around that? Like, where, you know, how have you got to that conclusion? Like, and just find out where their mindset is about it. And you probably, in a really short conversation, can discover like where that point of view has actually come from. And it is somebody else's point of view, probably. So I think just opening your mind out to talking to people a little bit differently and pausing before you go straight in with that judgment as well.
Yeah, being open-minded. And in the martial arts industry, they're not. They profess they are. This is the truth. I'm not being judgmental. I'm stating facts. they're not open-minded because, and not, I say they're not everybody, but a large proportion are not open-minded, and such a shame. We've got to be more open-minded as a society. And, you know, I think podcasts like this, and, you know, I think we are going into a more higher consciousness, but it's taking time to evolve into that, to create that awareness. You know, I say, like in life, we're all on a mission every day. And if you want to learn, grow and evolve, you got to remember that. And you girls will know this, but very often we live in an unconscious state. You know, what controls your life and who you are is your habits. And your habits are your unconscious behaviors. Your unconscious behaviors are learned behaviors, you know, and they're, you know, it's called your mushin. Yeah, your mushin means no mind. It's Japanese for no mind, right? Imagine how powerful you would be if you stopped thinking.
Yeah.
You see, and so your mind is the problem. Your mind is complex. It creates things that are not there. You know, we all do this in life, don't we? When we're born pure. We're born a diamond. We're born, and we can do, be, and become anything. We're born with abundance of love and happiness and prosper, everything. We're only born with two things: fear of noises and fear of falling. That's it. Everything else is made up. So all the fears you think you have, congratulations, you created them. Well done. Congratulations. Amazing. And the reason I say that, it's not being condescending, it's showing how fucking great you are. You created them. You created them from the things that you learned, from the experiences that you had. I give you an example. So this will give you an example of the importance of this within your business. Like yesterday, I was doing a mastermind. I was sharing this with them. And so, like, I've had many coaches, and I'm coaching. One of my coaches at the moment is Nikki V. And, you know, we work deep on some deep stuff. Like, I go deep. Yeah. So I've had lots of NLP regression therapy. I just go in. Like, I'm like, let's solve this. I go to the root rather than the surface level stuff. I'm like, let's go, let's grow. Every single time it comes back to your childhood. Every single time it's something that you've picked up that you go, that must be me. And one of the things that came up for me recently, were you at Expert Empires, Joe?
Yes.
Okay, so what you didn't know, or you may have known, my energy was totally off. Like, I went into the venue probably twice. I sat outside for most of it. I went to my hotel room for 3 hours and slept. There's a reason for that. I was building up, and I know this in myself, building up to something that was for months and months. It's been with me for years, probably 40 years. Yeah. I didn't know this, by the way. I'm sharing this with you now, right? And I was feeling, I was watching the patterns of myself. So my patterns are, when I go into exhaustion, I step away. I go into this world here. I start to have thoughts, and you know, I feel sad, and like, this is interesting, because I'm in personal development. I start to analyze it, and I'm looking for my patterns. And I stepped away, and I was quite emotional internally. I was like, you don't seem on. I said, I'm not. I'm cool though. I'm just dealing with some stuff. Anyway. And after that event, I was like, for me, I'm normally the life and soul. Like Joe will know, she's seen me, I'm jumping around and all that. I just didn't want to be there. I had my hoodie on. I was like on the second day, I stepped back, and over them 2 days, I've never been to an event like I was there in that state. But it's because I was working through something. And on the Sunday, it was getting worse. And I was like, okay, I need to message my coach. And she asked me a few questions, got on the call on this Monday. And it was an amazing call. It's like, okay, where does it come from? And essentially coaching through this process, it came down to, you come up with this word, and it was basically safety. I felt unsafe. And it went back to when I was lying in my bed, worrying that my mum was going to take me from my dad when she was drunk. Again. Wow. Gosh. So I felt unsafe. Does that make sense? And now, I'm not judging my mom here, but that's what things happen, don't they? In life, things happen, crazy things that I'm sure that she regrets, other people regret. But I had that much fear. I can remember that little kid there, and I hadn't healed it with my mom in my mind. I felt unsafe. I felt being taken away. So what was coming up all the time was, I was working really hard on myself. Like, every single morning I get up, I get up at 5 o'clock, I go to run to the gym, I do my weights, I run back, and I get into a 3-degree ice bath every single morning, straight outside, bang, and I'm in it for 5 minutes. I get out of it, I do all of that stuff, I do my tapping, EFT, but I was working hard on myself. What was happening is I get myself in a peak state, but then when I get into exhaustion, it go down here. Now I'd be in this like sadness state and stuff. And what was happening is I'd be reacting to what people were saying. If I'd always feel like I was being attacked. Does that make sense? Feeling like someone was attacking me, or I was upsetting someone, then there was a big conflict, and it came down to safety. I didn't feel safe. And I cried and all that type of thing. And I went through this healing process. I was just for an hour. And now I was like, you are safe. And I probably felt the best I've felt in decades, because I feel safe. Does that make sense? So even though you've been in personal development, you start to peel the layers of the onion, you start getting down to the root cause. I think that the safety thing has been one thing that I've been working towards for a long, long time, probably 40 years. When I didn't feel safe, I didn't realize this. Even all my personal development stuff that I've done is bringing me closer and closer to my core. And guess what? When you feel safe, you're even happier. You're calmer. You're less stressed. And this is all unconscious. I didn't know this. This is what I was holding on to. It's fascinating, isn't it? And that's just one of many things.
This just proves, though, it's never done, is it? Like your personal development journey, it's never finished. It's always an ongoing process, isn't it?
Until you die.
Until you die, yeah.
But by the way, if you choose, it's up to you. People stop. How many people do you know that read a book and stop? Read a book and leave it there. You're like Tony Robbins, like him or love him. That is one developed human being right there. That guy is one developed human being, as is some of the greatest female speakers around, right? That's the truth. It doesn't matter, male, female, whatever it is, yeah? You look at people who are well developed, you know for a fact that they are absolutely working on it every single day of their lives. That's what they're doing. What is it? Work harder on yourself than you do on your business? Damn straight. It's a non-negotiable. And it's, when you wake up in the morning, am I okay to share this, which is part of my book, which I think might help people to create change?
Of course.
Oh, yeah.
So one of the things is that, like, how do you create change? Change is a big part of us all. Like, how many people do you know, think about this, don't like change? Many people don't like change. But we're changing every second. As human beings, we're evolving. Human beings are change. That's what we are. If we weren't, we'd get to a point and stop. But we're evolving all the time. It's part of our DNA. But many people, they're dying inside because they're trying to stay safe. They're trying to stay comfortable. The problem is they're like, okay, I don't want to change and grow. I don't want, because they're in fear. They're fearing change. But actually, if they embrace it and they go, how can I be better today? 1% better. Where can I improve? And so I create these changes models. Like, okay, so when you get up every single morning, in fact, before you go to bed every evening, there's one thing I would suggest to you, is that no matter how bad your day is, no matter how good your day is, no matter how it went, what it was for you, first of all, thank yourself for being you. Thank you for being you. That's really important. Secondly, be grateful for everything that's happened in your life on that day. And thirdly, throw away the shit you don't want anymore. Like, throw it away. Just go. And fourthly, and this is the most important, get so fucking excited. Like, when you're going to sleep, I go to sleep like it's going to be Christmas the next day. I'm so excited about the next day. When I go into bed, I'm like a little kid. I cannot wait. And there's a reason, because I know it's a new day. I know I'm not going to be Bill Murray from Groundhog Day and bring yesterday into today. I'm going to let it go. I'm going to throw it away. I'm going to walk in and come into life as if it's my first day or maybe my last. Walk into it, everything. Now, do I wake up? No, I have to bring my eyes open, etc. And I wake up and I think, right, okay. So changes is very simple. When I wake up, I get up, I say, right, the seeing changes. Understand the biggest power you have is choice. You have the ability to choose how your day unfolds. You have the ability to choose to be happy or choose to be sad. You have the ability to choose to love or choose to hate. You have the ability to choose to laugh or choose to cry. You have that ability to choose where you go. So choice. The second is happiness. Okay, what's going to make me happy today? Am I happy? Yeah, I'm happy to be alive. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy that I woke up. I'm happy there's no wood either side of the elbows. What a fucking phenomenal time to be alive. I'm happy. I'm going to live in happiness. And it's like, I would say to people, most people are, I'll be happy when I get to this point in life. Bullshit. Because the problem is, when you get to that point, it becomes your reality. Now you'll be going, right, so when I get to that point, I'll be happy. The happiness for many people lives in the future when you are now in the present. So it's like, happiness is the adventure. Happiness is the journey. Happiness is to be happy with what you got while in pursuit of the other dreams. That's really, really important. And very often we forget about that. So it's happiness. A is the affection. So, God, thank you for being here. I love who I am. I love what I've got going on today. I love my clients. I love my wife, my partner, my kids, my dogs. I love that the dogs shit on the floor. I love that shit, man. I love that. I love people. Does that make sense? It's like love. And then it's like looking in the mirror, and the most of us, I fucking love who I am unconditionally. That's really important. It's that affection and love. The N then is to never judge. The N in changes is to never judge. Hard to do. Never judge others and never judge yourself. Remove that judgment from yourself. Remove it. Every time you hear yourself, well, I'm not very good. You are fucking incredible. Look at that specimen in the mirror there. Wow, you are amazing. Right? Unbelievable. It's that judgment. The G is for gratitude. Is to be grateful for everything that you've been given. The experiences, the good, the bad, the ugly. To be grateful that your heart is beating, the sun is out, the rain is here, whatever that is. To be grateful, not for the big things, not for the home, but for the, like I sit there and I'm grateful that the trees are swinging and the wind is blowing and my heart is beating. The simple things in life that I'm here again. So the gratitude. The E is for energy. Like, what am I going to do to get my body going? Hence why I run to the gym and go to the gym and get the body moving and get the vitality and jump in the ice bath and fucking let's go, let's grow. Like, it's like, yeah, I can create that. I can create the energy in your body. Most people fall out of bed, get a vat of coffee, and sit there thinking about what they're going to do. But their body, move your body even though you don't want to. And then finally, the S is for self-development. What are you pouring in? What are you listening to? What are you reading? What are you discovering in your mind? What are you doing to your body? And what are you doing in your heart? It's really important. And so that's self-development all the time to be the best version of yourself. So choices, stay in choice, live in happiness, and have so much affection and love for you and the world. Remove the judgment, live in gratitude, create that energy, and keep developing yourself to be the best version of yourself every day. And that is what I work on every single day. And it helps most of the time.
We need a part 2 of this.
I would challenge anyone listening to this who's feeling stuck and feeling lost not to feel hope after hearing you speak.
You need hope.
He's incredible. I love him.
You did say.
You need hope to cope, right? You need hope to cope.
100%. Absolutely. Gordon, we need a part 2 of this because this isn't done. Absolutely not done.
But I'm happy to come on. I'm happy to come and spend some time with you guys again. And I'll probably come down to the studio, and if I can share a bit of a message that can touch people and help people and how people live life happy, right? Can you smile a little bit more? I love that. That's all I want to hear is someone smiling that bit more. They realize they have the power to change everything.
Damn straight. You're going to have to come to our conference next year.
Yeah, I'll come to your conference. When is it?
September 2025.
Amazing. I'm happy to speak at it. I don't mind if you need speakers. I'll speak on stage.
Oh, yeah.
You heard it here first.
Love it. Well, thank you for joining us, Gordon. It's been incredible. Absolutely incredible. Like I knew it would be.
Yeah. One more quick question for you, though. We are always looking for new podcast guests. So who do you know that would make a difference and would impact people listening to this podcast?
Who do I know? What is it that you're looking to achieve? What is the message?
We cover all angles. So everything you've talked about today is exactly what our listeners need. But anything business related, anything personal development related, doesn't have to be dog related at all. Yeah,
I mean, if you can get JP de Villiers, he's just amazing. Like when it comes to personal development, he's good. He's amazing. There's loads of people in social media and stuff like that. And I'll have a little think and I'll come back to you. I'll have a think and I'll drop you a couple of recommendations. I've been on loads of podcasts, so there may be some collaborations there for you as well. Yeah.
Yeah. And how can people find out more about you if they want to know about you?
Just have a look on social media somewhere. That's all right.
I love that.
Go and get his book, Live Life Happy. Definitely go and get that. Is it an audio as well?
It's on Audible, yeah.
Love it. So there you go. No excuse. It's going in it's going to go on my wish list so I can get that in my ears as well. But yeah, go and check that out and then we will put the links to your socials in our show notes.
Amazing. I'm just here to serve. Have a great day, guys.
Thanks so much.
See you soon.